All good trips start early in the morning. Here we are at the airport at dawn, heading to Warsaw for a sensational day of fun and culture. Yes, those two things are not necessarily incompatible. We've landed at Warsaw Chopin Airport and we're ready, excited and eager to get into town and see with our own eyes what this green city can offer. Warsaw is so called a green city due to its many parks, the University Library roof garden and the 10 national reserves you can find within Greater Warsaw. At the end of a typical Sunday stroll around town, we decide to head straight to the most legendary breakfast place in Warsaw, Cafe 612, which owes its name to the street number it's located on. Several breakfast options are available, even for the most demanding of palates. It's a blend of different culinary cultures with something to please everyone's taste, both sweet and savoury. The specialities of Cafe 612, however, are the fresh juices made with fruits or vegetables and spices. The staff are young and very helpful, but expect some waiting as they do prepare everything fresh on the spot using the best organic ingredients, proof of their commitment and attention to their customers' well-being. The cafe is quiet during the day and lively in the evening. Soft Polish pop and jazz provides the right atmosphere for conversation, great if you're facing a terrible hangover after a wild night out. Properly refreshed by an ultra-nutritious breakfast, we now have the right amount of energy to devote to exploration of the city. Like all other major puppet cities of the former Soviet Union, Warsaw is currently booming, and thanks to all the new job opportunities, it's the destination of a steady flow of migrants.
Potem nagle ktoś nas ścina, świat od nowa się zaczyna, ale tu już
But happily, it's not all about work, right? This young crowd needs a place to kick back at the end of the day, and Warsaw offers all sorts of entertainment like any other big capital. Like the rest of Poland, Warsaw is strategically located in Europe, and has therefore been a sought-after prey for powerful nations wanting to expand their territories. Warsaw has been invaded several times by Sweden, Prussia, and especially in the 19th century by Russia, who imposed its culture on the entire nation more profoundly than previous invaders. Germany couldn't resist the temptation either and occupied the area in the mid-20th century.
że jednak byłaś, w jednej chwili świat stworzyłaś, świat, którego mi nie odda nikt.
The Nazis responded by deporting the entire city and razing it to the ground. At the end of the war, 85% of the city was destroyed. After World War II, Warsaw became the capital of the People's Republic of Poland, under the Soviet Union's authority. The majority of historical buildings were rebuilt according to their original form, showing the rest of Europe what Warsaw's population was made of: tireless and persistent people. They didn't lose hope when faced with their beloved city in ruins. From 1962 on, they got back on their feet and restored Warsaw from top to bottom. After years of imposed oppression, an overwhelming desire for freedom now characterizes Warsaw as one of the most exciting cities in Europe. Developed around water like many cities in the ancient past, Warsaw features its own river, the Vistula, which splits the city diagonally from north to south, and the city stands on its floodplain. Warsaw was established at the end of the 1200s around the royal castle, as we see it today after the reconstruction started in the 1970s. Originally, the castle was surrounded by defensive walls, of which only the reconstruction of the fortified gateway remains.
Ja wciąż kocham cię, dziewczyno, tego już nie zmieni nawet czas. O Roma, ne, o Roma, o Roma, ne, o Roma, o Roma, ne, o Roma, o Roma, ne, o Roma.
About 10 minutes on foot from the Café 612, we find the Palace of Culture and Science, Stalin's gift to Poland and a symbol of socialist oppression. In fact, entire blocks had to be knocked down to build it. The palace, built in the mid-20th century, is the tallest building in the entire country. Around the corner, you'll also find the Quarter Marszałkowska, a perfect example of socialist pragmatism. In fact, it's one of the biggest urban developments in the world. In the heart of the old city is the Ryneckiego Miasta, the old town square market, a vast rectangle whose four sides are named after the 18th century Polish parliamentarians.
A wszystko te czarne oczy, gdybym ja je miał, za te czarne, cudne oczęta serce duszę.
The visual impact is certainly peculiar, with the colourful and picturesque buildings leaning against each other, as in the original structure. At the centre of the square stands the monument to the Warsaw Mermaid, symbol of the city, armed with sword and shield to protect its citizens. Another historic site of the old town is the Castle Square in front of the royal castle, Plac Zamkowy, where there is an oddly placed fountain spraying a mist of fresh water to refresh the tourists. At the centre of the square is another important symbol of the city, Sigmund's Column, built in honour of King Sigmund III. We've been told about an authentic traditional restaurant in Warsaw, the Folk Gospoda, where the waiters wear national costume with lots of adorable frills and the food is exceptionally good. During the weekend, lunch is served from 2:30, and it's highly recommended to book in advance because large organised groups are often brought here to taste typical Polish traditional dishes, so it gets very busy. We are greeted by large white papier-mâché deer, symbol of Poland, and a protected species. It's a distinctly rustic atmosphere for a place that appears easygoing, but this presents a sophisticated bond to the national costume. The interiors are made of wood, including the ceilings with large beams, and the walls are covered with large wooden boards as well. with decorations made in wrought iron, such as the cock on the fireplace and curtains in perfect countryside chic style. There is a candle burning on each table, which helps create the warm and welcoming atmosphere that the manager Mark focuses on with great skill. Well dressed and very friendly, he explains to us what makes this restaurant one of the standout places in the city, which over the years has received numerous awards, including the 2012 Prize for Culinary Excellence, the 37th International Tourist, Hotel and Catering Industry Award, and the TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence for 2012. It's impossible not to taste the Russian-style pierogi, a variation of the national dish dumplings with sour cream, and stuffed with all sorts of different sweet or savoury fillings. And finally, to block the burning thirst, a jug of excellent Polish beer. It almost feels strange not to see sugar sachets, but old-style sugar bowls. Opened in 1766, here is where, according to the legend, the famous duel took place between Casanova, the famous Italian adventurer and seducer, and Count Branicki, the two fighting over a woman, of course. A 5-minute walk from the Folk Gospoda is another restaurant by the same owner. The name is unpronounceable, but the literal translation is the Tavern Under the Red Pork, taking its name from the regulars at the beginning of the 1900s, the Red Socialists, including Lenin. At the time of the People's Republic of Poland, the tavern was the secret place for private parties held by dignitaries and politicians, as mockingly illustrated by the large painting that dominates the main room, the Socialists' Last Supper, in which the main socialist leaders, such as Lenin, Fidel Castro, Mao Zedong, Stalin and others, are banqueting around the same table for the last big binge, with food, wine, vodka, cigars and beautiful girls to fool around with. The restaurant cleverly turns this into a joke, where clients are invited to enjoy the banquet with the dreaded red leaders. On the walls of each room peep various portraits of numerous political figures, whose gaze fails to inhibit us from enjoying every delicious dish. Dishes include meat and fish accompanied by the usual excellent spicy sauces and potatoes, mashed potatoes and sauerkraut, mushrooms and other delicious vegetables. The plates are offered in two presentation versions, either for the working class or the bourgeoisie. Which side to take is up to you.
Kozak młody czule żegna się z dziewczyną, jeszcze czulej z Ukrainą. Hej, hej, sokoły, omijajcie.
It must be because of all these wonderful things that the tavern has received numerous awards, among them the TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 2012 and, for the first time in Poland, the New Millennium Award by the Trade Leaders Club for excellence in the food and the uniqueness of the atmosphere, listing the tavern among the 25 best restaurants in the world. If you ever decide to have lunch or dinner outside, you definitely won't miss the vintage cars parked next to the entrance. Black and shiny, they proudly display the tavern's logo, an idea that we notice is very common among Warsaw restaurants. And although in Warsaw you can find the classic tourist traps, as everywhere else, the average cost of a complete lunch ranges from 10 to 15 euro, and the portions are never petite. Polish cuisine is abundant by definition. Essential during your meal is a good accompanying beer that girls drink with a straw, or hot tea, or the third most popular drink, vodka, which Polish people drink just as if it was water. After lunch, we visit the new part of the city, which is not so new anymore. In fact, the neighbourhood dates back to the 14th century. It lies just north of the old town and is connected to it by Freta Street. We cross the river on the right bank of the Vistula and we enter the Praha district. The area was an independent town until the late 18th century. Right here in Zabrowska Street, we enter a very particular club, Opera Absurdo, literally the rivers of the absurd. And the name is quite appropriate. The place has a very special atmosphere and a mission: just be yourself. Giant spiders crouch above the entrance. Christian saints and altars with Christmas lights are gleaming throughout the year. The interior decoration is characterised by antique furniture and paintings, rugs and carpets everywhere. All this stuff doesn't seem to go together, but after visiting this place, you will change your mind for sure. This popular pub also offers delicious snacks and live music, sometimes world music, especially Eastern style, and then jazz and funk, but also expect spontaneous jam sessions. First, we take a walk down Foskal Street for an easy stroll and maybe a pre-dinner cocktail. We follow the recommendation and walk a few minutes to enjoy the sunset in one of the city's most popular coffee places. One of those open 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's called the Lemon Bar, where you can sit and sip great cocktails and maybe enjoy a few small omelettes or pancakes for hangover prevention, even though getting drunk is almost a prerequisite for the good tourist who diligently samples every bar in Warsaw. Don't worry, you don't have to drive, and taxi drivers are honest and will let you know if the place you are looking for is close enough to walk. We are still in the street when we notice a lemon stuck in a glass case on the entrance wall. This place seems to take itself a little seriously, but at the same time knows how to entertain you. The dress code is kind of smart casual, the interior design is modern and colourful, and the light yellow walls are lit by coloured spotlights that will quickly transport you into disco mode. The main attraction of this restaurant is certainly the bar counter. The bartenders are friendly, cute, and above all, they know what they're doing. They might even impress you with some of their acrobatics. If you're looking for a quick alcoholic buzz, try out the colourful little shots, served in a kind of beaker which is unbreakable, even by the most careless customer. The waitresses are really nice, and not just to look at. They greet you at the entrance to find you somewhere either inside or outside. There are not so many tables inside because this place at night, it becomes a disco pub where people get wild. The music, electronic or lounge, is quite loud to get you perfectly prepared for the party which awaits you after dinner. It's time to have dinner. We want to try out a nice local restaurant, and to do so, we have to go back to the old town. Our attention is attracted by an old 50s van, apparently stuck in a doorway, and there we find the right place for us. It's called Podval. It's just won the TripAdvisor's Certificate of Excellence for this year, and is totally traditional. The staff are in traditional costume, the food is traditional, the beer is craft-made, the portions overflowing, and the atmosphere is unique. This is a crowded restaurant. And you will probably have to wait a little. But every day there are folk performances by the Klezmercy Band to keep you entertained. Clarinet, accordion and double bass relax diners through this wholly tasteful experience. The friendly and helpful waiters will take you to your table in their green and white uniforms. And you'll see them juggling huge wooden boards, serving delicious meat platters, including grilled meat, breaded liver, and the classic pierogi that we just cannot taste here as well. We also love the bread basket full of tasty roasted vegetables. The bar tour, a classic pre-club experience, is a must in this bustling city. And although prices might seem expensive compared to the rest of the standard Polish cost of living, you'll be surprised by how inexpensive your alcoholic tour will turn out in the end. Peaceful and pleasant during the day, Warsaw offers a vibrant nightlife. We decide to go to the Mazowiecka street, dedicated to nightlife. Super crowded, it's home to three of the most famous clubs in Warsaw: the Paparazzi, the Watch Me, and the Enklawa. Let's start with the very trendy Paparazzi. It's not only the name, rather obvious, but also the photos of style icons hanging on all the walls, and screens which are tuned to fashion TV. Expert bartenders enchant us with their freestyle cocktail making, and the girls at the bar would look more at home in a James Bond movie. There are many skillfully prepared cocktails on offer. Don't be afraid to order the more complex or your favourite obscure cocktail. They will know how to make it. Shots are a big part of a night out in Warsaw. Small and colourful glasses are everywhere. You can expect a big crowd later, but this place can handle it. Spread over 2 levels, it's large enough to deal with the people of the Polish night. In the middle of the large room on the ground floor, there is a bar and several tables, while upstairs you'll find other tables and a smaller bar, offering the chance to enjoy the evening from a quieter perspective. If you're a smoker, you'll be happy to know that you can still enjoy smoking in freedom. As we've already noticed elsewhere, you can smoke inside, and the club doesn't feel overly smoky thanks to the powerful ventilation system. Otherwise, if you can't stand smoke, you may want to stay in the small non-smoking area near the entrance, from where you can quickly return outside for some fresh air. The DJ selects quality electronic music and the volume is already relatively high, so people can start stretching their legs on the dance floor, but can also keep chatting. The staff are very elegant unless there is a theme night, in which case both bartenders and waiters participate by dressing accordingly. Gentlemen might want to bring a blazer because the door policy is fairly strict, and we would suggest an equally smart outfit for the ladies as well. 1 minute away along the Mazowiecka street at number 68, we run into Watch Me, a new club that's taking its rightful place amongst the big venues of the Polish capital. Thanks to its size, it can accommodate a very large number of people. The Watch Me has become a direct competitor of the famous Paparazzi. Along the same Mazowiecka street, this time at number 12, we find another famous club in Warsaw, the Enklawa. Big enough to accommodate a crowd looking for fun, this club is on 2 levels, and commercial and electro house fill both levels. If you want to attempt a shout-in-the-ear conversation, you can find tables and sofas upstairs. Enklawa's manager Veslo is a well-dressed but easygoing gentleman, and he has no problem opening up the doors of the club to us. Good-looking girls and boys, the door policy is definitely exclusive. The lights are now very low. We are deep into the Polish night. You'll find that the bartenders are all women, and all very cute. This evening, a singer takes over the stage with her sexy moves and warm voice, and at the right moment, you'll be snowed under a cascade of confetti. If you happen to like watching yourself in a mirror, you're in the right place. The columns on both sides of the dance floor are covered with mirrors, and so are most of the walls in the room. There's nothing wrong with a bit of vain sometimes, right? We are sorry to leave because the crowd is quite into the music and everyone is having a great time, but we still have a few more nice places to scout out before the night is over. Less than a 10-minute walk away, we reach the Fredo 6 and the Ibiza-style atmosphere of the Platinum. This place is super posh, furnished with great taste, columns, chandeliers, everything shines in perfectly glamorous style. And this attention to the aesthetics is perhaps also due to the fact that this is both a club and a restaurant. To pass the entrance selection, you certainly have to wear at least a shirt. This is nearly 1,000 square meters of super sophistication. A main hall and a loft, 2 bars and a VIP room dedicated to super selective parties, accommodating up to 6 people. The music is exclusive and, on Saturday nights, mainly for electronic connoisseurs, while the other nights feature various genres ranging from soul to R&B on Thursdays to commercial on Fridays. This club is without doubt on the same level of the very best European clubs. As we said, the door policy is very strict. Make sure you look your best, because in this city, as we've noted previously, your status, or at least your appearance, will determine whether and how your night will end up being, including whether you would get admitted to this club or not. Gentlemen can enjoy the view of the sinuous girls on the stage, but please don't just call them nightclub dancers. It's almost like they are beautiful regular clubbers up on stage who just happen to be dressed all the same. Sometimes it may happen that a curvy customer decides to jump on stage and engage in a sexy dance. The stage brings a substantial contribution to the enthusiasm of the place. At some point, you'll feel that there are almost more people on stage than there are on the dance floor. The last club of our wild night here in Warsaw is a 10-minute taxi ride away. Dekada Club is a huge disco with countless strobe lights hanging from the ceiling, and the DJ console has a peculiar setup, simple but appealing, with a hint of vintage. In the middle of the room, there's a large dance floor, and around it, plenty of tables for fans of people watching. The console is quite peculiar. Underneath, there's a vintage car and a real tram, inside which you can enjoy a drink sitting at a table. The club's target audience seems younger compared to the ones we've visited so far. In fact, people are dressed far more casually. The music is easygoing as well, commercial, happy music, and pop. There are a lot of themed evenings and live concerts. This place does have an entry policy, but the clientele is really varied. For the first time, we noticed that the security service is very much more present and ready to step in if needed. Warsaw has something for everyone. This wonderful city allows every tourist to fully experience a very enjoyable holiday, offering the right combination of culture, gastronomy, and entertainment. You'll return home feeling that even if perhaps for just a single day you have seen the modern Poland, now far away from the difficult years of the 20th century, looking towards the future and open to the rest of the world. Modern, but aware of its own past. The strongest feeling you will take back with you when leaving Warsaw is having met people who are not only extraordinarily nice and welcoming, but who have also been able to rise like a phoenix from the ashes.